Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. Appreciate you joining us here today, where we are going to be talking about a shift that a lot of organizations, probably yours, may be making these days. And that's going from cloud-first thinking to being hybrid by design. And we will define that a little bit and talk about what that journey looks like. A lot of companies out there, again, like yours, you're wrestling with things like technical debt. You've got the cost pressures out there that never seem to ease up. You've got increasingly complex IT environments. Again, that doesn't seem to be changing a whole lot these days, although we are looking for some of that simplicity. And that's where folks like HPE do come into the picture these days, because they're trying to simplify things for folks out there. But these days, again, a lot of you have goals out there, no longer just moving workloads to the cloud. You're looking to deliver that cloud experience wherever the data is living. That can be out there on the edge. It could be on-prem. It can be in a colo. You don't also, though, want to sacrifice any control over that data or the security of that data or the access to it, et cetera. So again, a lot of things that we want to talk about. The good news is I've got two guys on board that have a lot to say. Craig Plevinsky is on board, networking solutions architect over at WEI. Glad to have him here. And also in conversations, Jim Robbins, HPE GreenLake Cloud Services Partner Account Manager for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And again, we'll be going over these things, right? Looking at how GreenLake is providing a unified platform to manage hybrid IT. And we'll look at the partnership between WEI and HPE, why those two together can benefit your organization. So guys, welcome here. Going to start off with a question going to both of you. Craig, I'll have you kind of first start, but definitely want to hear Jim in the early moments here. This cloud first approach. It's been something that enough organizations have done over the last many years, and we've had enough time to hear from customers. And some have said, you know what, that just didn't really work for us entirely. It didn't solve all the challenges we had. And so what has been evolving recently is this hybrid by design approach. Craig, talk to me a little bit about that from your customer sphere. More people going that hybrid route? And if so, what are they ultimately looking for?
Thanks, James. Great to be here. That is a very interesting question, right? The customer's mindset in the beginning of all this, right, was cloud first, right? When it first came out several years ago, right? Your strategy was cloud first. On paper, it solved lots of problems, your speed, the ability to innovate. It was like that shiny new object in the room. Everybody kind of gravitated to it. But once our customers and the environments ended up moving and scaling in the cloud, that's when a lot of those operational realities started to set in. Things like performance hits, latency, application lag, and unpredictable costs, right? All the headaches that you can come across, right? That were not there. And data compliance issues, right? What if you're a finance banking company or you're a healthcare company? Your compliance, data compliance, your government compliance, they're different. So now where do you put your workloads, right? Can you now go on-prem? They have to go colo. Can they go on the edge? Back in the cloud? What do you do with that, right? So what we're seeing over here at WI is that our customers want really true flexibility. They want to be able to scale the workloads up and scale the workloads down seamlessly to give them the performance and operational ability that they need. And that also helps them out financially where it makes sense, right? Now, quick example, Christmas time, right? You're a retailer, you got to scale up in December, and then come January, February, you scale back down. This type of infrastructure allows that to happen quick and seamlessly and with ease. So that's why having that type of hybrid infrastructure platform really makes sense. Right? You got that single pane of glass, which is the simplicity that our customers really, really want and like, for all your compute, storage, and networking. But those results need to be designed properly the first time out of the gate. And that's really where our engineering experience come in. This is what we do all the time to design and make sure that our customers' business expectations are not only met for today, but they exceed what they need for the future.
And we will dive into a little more of that. Jim, what's driving this hybrid by design? We heard from Craig, flexibility. I surfaced. I think he echoed it, simplicity. What else is driving the customer base that you hear from?
Yeah, James, appreciate that. And Craig brings up a lot of really good points that we see on a day-to-day basis at HP. You talk about cloud first. We do see, some repatriation of people that thought cloud first was going to be their best avenue. We also see, like we talked about, hybrid solutions, right? That's what GreenLake is, and it's meant to be working with the cloud. So if customers are in the cloud and they're comfortable with what they have in there, that's great. But what we typically find is a decent percentage of their environment, applications, workloads, whatever they may be, will always reside on-prem, whether I think Craig mentioned latency, security, a lot of reasons why they want to keep it on-prem. But when they have it on-prem, they want to have that same look and feel that they have out in the cloud. Safe, easy to use, fast, flexible, those type of things. And that's what GreenLake does for you. And the partnership that we have with WEI goes a long way with our customers for a couple of reasons. They have the ability to add even more flexibility than we can offer at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. GreenLake is a very flexible offering. There's a lot of things we can do, but that the partners being local and having great relationships long term with their customers is great leverage for a client as well, because there's a lot of things they can do on top of what we're doing. So some really great points there too.
Absolutely. I think we'll surface a few more of those in a bit here. Craig, let me come back. I mentioned technical debt. There's some other reasons why folks are looking to make these changes and all. Let's talk a little bit, high level, of how WEI really gets in with a customer and addresses some of the legacy infrastructure they might have and how they can plan for the future and become more modern.
Oh, that's a very great and insightful question. The first thing that we like to do is have an assessment phase with the customers, right? Sit them down in a room and try and understand where they are today and where they would like to be tomorrow, right? Where are your workloads running today, right? We had mentioned, colo in the cloud, on-prem. And what pain points do you have? What is keeping you up at night at your current infrastructure? And what are your expectations for the next few years so we can help address them? From that, we're going to try and map a realistic roadmap strategy for them, right? Sometimes that might mean we can extend the life of their current equipment that they have, try and manage that current investment, try and be conscientious about reusing gear when it makes sense. Now, when it comes to designing or modernizing in those specific areas on compute, storage, or network, certainly we may need new gear to do that. The key really is to provide a consultative approach, not just to sell technology because it's technology for the sake of it. We're trying to solve real customer operational challenges that they have today. And it's really all about providing them with that supportable roadmap, right? Trying to fix their technical debt, today and make sure that it scales well into the future and positions them well.
Yeah, absolutely. Solve for today, be planned for tomorrow. One of the other issues, I get out and talk to a lot of teams, and one of the other issues out there, Craig, is the idea of lock-in. And they just kind of are either they've always done it one way, so they think that that's just the only way to do it, or they may be looking to change, but then do I have to change everything? So lock in, right? It's a challenge. You and I both know that. Speaking from kind of a GreenLake customer perspective, does it help people get that flexibility back? Especially when compared to other kind of traditional models and infrastructure and all? How does that look for the average customer that chooses GreenLake?
Oh, that's a very insightful question also. Yeah, GreenLake helps bring that flexible operating model that we all like, right? It brings a lot of the cloud things that we like consumption features with the control and performance of the on-prem infrastructure. I think Jim alluded to that a little bit in the beginning in his take. That's really important for that performance. And from a financial standpoint, your capital purchases, there's no really upfront capital purchase, CapEx purchases, right? Because it's more about your usage and how you use that. And operationally, that makes a lot of sense. But one of the big things is the unified management platform across all your different environments, right? We now can put the workloads where they make sense. We're not just stuck in the cloud. We can put them at the edge. We can put them on-prem. Whatever makes sense for the customer, that is where we put them. And you're not locked in to GreenLake for just one of those. You can do one or all of them. That's what makes it a pretty powerful platform. Now, those results, though, to get to that point, they got to be designed properly. They got to be built right from the beginning, and you need a great engineering team to design and architect that for the customer, to get it right the first time and make sure that we achieve the business outcomes that we're trying to design into this process.
Yeah, and I'd like to kind of piggyback on that too, Craig, is you mentioned what makes sense for the customer. This is critically important when you're talking about GreenLake, because unlike some competitive forces in the market today, we don't design things and try to pigeonhole customers into these designs and say this will fit for you here and this will fit for you here. This is truly designed and prepared the way the customer wants it. And that's the most critical thing with GreenLake. We do not cookie cutter these. We come in and we design an environment the way the customer needs it designed, and we allow for growth, which we'll get into a little bit more, but very, very important fact there for sure.
Yeah, well said, James. I echo that the same. That's what we're seeing. Excellent summary.
Let's do this, Jim. As I shift the conversation a little bit to you, I want to talk about risk. And there's always a risk in changing. But there's also a big risk in staying the same. And I'm going to argue that some of the older technologies that are protecting our data, that are trying to give us some of the operational agility that we thought we were striving for, might not be the most modern these days. So we're looking at things like GreenLake and others. How are GreenLake customers coming back to you once they've made the choice and saying, yes, we've seen now that we have data protection that is better. We see that we're more agile. We're getting rid of some of the complexity.
Yeah, great question, and it's great to notice that this changes frequently. We're constantly improving GreenLake all the time. Over the last 15 plus years of its inception, we've made it better and better. Antonio in 2019 told everybody that every single product that we sell would be GreenLakeable, for the lack of a better term, and it has been. It was in his time frame. So what we're seeing across customers is pretty simple. We're seeing IT environments have just become way too complex. There's so much complexity. There are many tools. Security isn't consistent. Data is spread everywhere, on-prem, in the cloud, at the edge. That creates a lot of risk, okay? So GreenLake helps by bringing everything under one consistent model. It gives customers that cloud-like experience that I talked about earlier across that whole environment, so things are easy to manage. On the data protection side, solutions like GreenLake for data protection help customers recover quickly and stay resilient across all their workloads. GreenLake Central is that single pane of glass where they get to, in one place, get to see, manage, and control everything. And that really cuts down the complexity of their environment. Another big risk we see is just IT teams being stretched way too thin. This is a common theme we see with every customer we talk with. Even when they have the right technology, they don't always have the tools to manage it at scale. Okay, so that's where the HP Cloud Ops software suite helps, right? So what this does is it brings monitoring, automation, management all together in one place, right? So the big benefit is speed. What used to take weeks can now be done much faster, so customers get the value right away.
And I believe, Jim, Craig brought up a little bit on the unpredictability, especially when it was the cloud first kind of mentality, the unpredictability of spend. And that's something not only IT has their eyes on, but our business partners, our finance leaders, they have an eye on that too. How does GreenLake help bring some of that predictability to the picture?
Yeah, well, in today's environment, I can tell you, cost is a huge focus right now. It always has been, but I think in light of a lot of the memory constraints that are going on now, it's becoming an even bigger focus. So traditionally, customers have always had to buy enough infrastructure for peak demands, which means they're often paying for capacity that they're not using. And when we come in and we we talked about sizing a customer appropriately. We have some tools that can do that. Cloud Physics is one of them. We would put an executable on a customer's environment for a couple of weeks. No data leaves prem. And we can actually see what they're actually using versus what they have. And often it's much less than what they have is what they're using. So GreenLake changes that whole paradigm. It's pay for what you use model, but with extra capacity when you need it. So you're not stuck overbuying just in case, right? A lot of over provisioning really comes from uncertainty, right? So customers don't always feel confident about what they'll need. So they obviously plan for worst case. Why wouldn't you, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you don't have enough capacity. With GreenLake, they get real-time visibility and insights. So we have tools like OpsRamp, InfoSight. These help them to see what's happening and predict what's coming, and they can adjust as they go. So instead of guessing, they can right-size their environment and stay in control of those costs.
Craig, what about you? Quick story, WEI customer who, had a great success, a good win with GreenLake.
I can recall that there was a banking customer up in Maine that I was working on, and they were interested in the GreenLake platform and going through a lot of things that we discussed about the single pane of glass, how we can manage all these workloads, because they had lots of other different vendors. And so we went in, talked about the benefits of GreenLake, how we get the single pane of glass, how you can manage all your workloads and put them where they are, because they had lots of data compliance issues, right? Because they're a financial institution. And how were they going to do that, right? They were struggling with the cloud, colocation, how do we keep everything sent, how they keep everything properly where it needs to be. And everyone up was very data compliance, right? It's financial. We got to be careful. How do we do all that? And GreenLake allowed us the flexibility to design and answer those questions to the customers. And this was their first exposure to anything from GreenLake. And it ended up being an on-prem because that's the way they wanted to go. But in the end, it solved most of their operational challenges. We were able to get that site up relatively fast. They gave us like a 6-month timeline. I think we were done 50% cheaper. So the ability to bring that customer up faster than what any other competitor can do, I think was a real win for them. And that's one I can think off the top of my head there that worked very well for us.
Well, Craig, appreciate the story. Jim, thank you for your insights here today as well. Hopefully, folks, we answered a lot of questions for you, maybe even though generated some new questions. And the way to get those answered is to have a conversation with WEI about what HPE GreenLake can bring to your organization. If you have a team already in place, reach out to them. If you need a team to be in place, WEI.com is where we invite you to head online. Contact information, all sorts of things about WEI available. Again, WEI.com. With that, we wish you well, and we do look forward to talking to you all down the road.